Boredom is a state of being uninterested, weary, and restless due to a lack of stimulation or meaning. In other words, boredom is an internal state or emotion that is unpleasant. We don't like feeling bored, and with good reason. Feeling bored sucks. We feel bored due to lack of stimulation, and stimulation has to do with dopamine and attention. The thing is that lack of stimulation is relative, and this is a very important insight. Lack of stimulation is relative to our baseline levels of stimulation. For a person who only plays video games or watches movies in his spare time, reading can be painful or feel boring, but to a person who only reads in his spare time, reading can be deeply engaging and a lot of fun. We feel bored when the thing we are doing is less stimulating than what we are used to experiencing. With the rise of entertainment and digital media use, we might think we should be less bored, but the opposite is true. Since the invention of the iPhone and the most popular media platforms, boredom has intensified according to national-wide studies. Digital devices intensify boredom in two ways. The first is that digital media intensifies boredom by disrupting attention, and the second by the tolerance principle. Attention and tolerance. Digital media disrupts our attention, diminishing our attention spans. And with shorter attention spans and weaker attention muscles per se, it's easier to get bored and find everyday activities boring and make activities that require strong concentration harder and harder. Regarding the tolerance principle, digital media is dopamine inductive, which means it gives us pleasure. And what do we know about dopamine and pleasure? In her book Dopamine Nation, Lembke, a practicing psychiatrist at Stanford University, talks about tolerance or neuroadaptation. The paradox is that hedonism, the pursuit of pleasure for its own sake, leads to anhedonia, which is the inability to enjoy pleasure of any kind. Hedonism leads to anhedonia. The pursuit of pleasure leads to pleasure insensibility. And since digital media uses dopamine inductive, it worsens the problem of boredom by raising the bar per se of what we find pleasurable, making even digital media use boring, intensifying boredom. Rockefeller, although heavily criticized, a man known for his relentless work ethic and despised towards wasting time in entertainment, put it this way: "I can think of nothing less pleasurable than a life devoted to pleasure." John D. Rockefeller. Digital media overuse literally makes us weaker and intensifies boredom. It makes our focus and attention mental muscles weaker, which makes every single thing that requires attention harder, like reading and work. Intuitively, we can think that digital media use cures boredom, but the data shows that digital media use actually intensifies boredom. The worst things we can do to be less bored is engage in immediate gratification, and that is easier than ever. That is why we are increasingly bored.